What's up, boys and girls? It's your pal right here, Black Avenger, aka the Black Azrael, Lee Sanders, of the RCWR show, coming at you with another cool unveiling and DVD review. This time around, we are talking about former WWE superstar Brodus Clay and the interview slash fun view, that's the way I'm dubbing it right now, that he did with Sean Oliver of Kayfabe Commentaries, as they did another edition of Youshoot. And we had told you guys about this off and on, to the point that when this DVD was released, turns out they released it in two unique versions. There's standard DVD, and then there's the signature slash limited edition, which only was limited to 30 copies being sold. Now, somebody that thought that maybe they were going to be able to buy 5 of those signature slash limited editions, no. That's not how they operated. You could only get one signature slash limited edition copy. So 30 unique people, including yours truly, has that unique edition. So that's what we're going to be tackling here for you guys. Thing I love about Kayfabe Commentaries is that the shipping is super freaking fast. I was under the impression that I probably was not going to have this bad boy until after the Labor Day holiday. That's just my wishful thinking. I mean, I put the order in for this Monday of this week, as it's Sunday right now, so it's actually a day before Labor Day, but I put the order in on Monday, and I believe this hat came, I want to say it was either Wednesday or Thursday that it came in. So the shipping from these guys are fast. So let's open this bad boy up and let's see what we got in here, shall we? I love the shipping from Kayfabe Commentaries. I've only got but a select few, tease you guys with that. I've only gotten a select few DVDs from them in the mail, but I must say I've always been impressed with the shipping because it's super fast. RF Video, and maybe this can be a New Year's resolution for the company in the year 2015, maybe they can improve the hell out of their shipping so that when you put your money down for it and it's time for that DVD to be released, either you have it the day that it's released or you have it a day or two later. It's just kind of weird how they operate, because they take your money first and then you'll actually be waiting. Like, God, one time I actually waited 3 weeks for a new release DVD. I don't know about you guys, but that's a little bit too long to be waiting for a DVD. For real. But, you know, it is what it is. Let's see what we got right here. Alright, so intended for mature audience, signature edition. I'm looking at the back of this. Cameraman slash lady, let me know if it's a little bit too bright. Just give me a nice little elbow nudge there, but I'm gonna read it for the folks. Hope that helps you out a little bit. Helps you out a little bit? Okay, good. Says here, G Rilla, Monster BC, call him what you want, and he just may call you a thing or two as well. BC has taken the Youshoot oath and agreed to answer everything you have for him about wrestling, the world of Snoop Dogg that is, and just about anything else under the sun. Monster has lots of hilarious tales about his fellow WWE stars, and he tells them here. Get ready to let Monster BC into your home for another Youshoot. Tell ya mama. Alright, looks pretty good. Running time, it's an hour 50. I'm quite sure that they probably could have gotten a lot more out of, I know they want to call him Monster BC, but I'm just going to say Brodus Clay. They probably could have got a little bit more out of him, but as I've been telling you guys off and on, because I've been staying on top of this, notice the Fantastic Four outfit that he's wearing. True story, because I follow Kayfabe and I follow RF Video on Facebook. There was this one particular day that was funny, like within an hour of each other, Kayfabe was first, they showed still images from the interview that they conducted with Brodus, again, for Youshoot, and then like less than a half hour later, RF Video pops up and they show still images of Brodus Clay in the same freaking outfit that's on the back of this DVD. Same still images that our video had of him in this outfit for their shoot. and he probably chatted with them for like about 4 or 5. You know how RF Video is when they interview people. They just like pack a lunch and all that shit, man. Let's see the front of this. All right, that looks pretty good. Camera lady, is that a little too is it okay? Is it good? All right. I know if I do it this way, that's probably like gonna break the hell out of the people. Now, see, I thought that maybe this was gonna be signed by Brodus, but doesn't look like it is. That you know, it's a little disappointed with that. I wonder why they're calling it a signature series. I don't get that. But it is what it is. Let's open it up. Well, how about that? Brodus Clay signed it. That's badass. And check this out, guys. I actually have 1 of 50. Looks like I got the first signature edition. I don't know if that's luck or what, but I'll tell you this. Kayfabe Commentaries, Sean Oliver, thank you guys. Thank you tremendously. I don't know if this is maybe the luck of the draw, but I'll thank you guys for 2 things. I'll thank you guys for having Brodus Clay sign these things, these signature editions. And number 2, that's badass. I've got the first signature edition copy. That's awesome. That is awesome. I'm like cheesing now over here, man. That's good. So, true story about Brodus Clay. We actually took the time out to interview him. He was such a cool person, man. He actually had granted us his very first interview post WWE release. If you guys haven't checked that out, we'll actually have a link somewhere in this video. It's also going to be in the episode description for you guys to check out. If you didn't check it out, check it out. Good stuff. I believe we chatted for like about 45 minutes. The man was freaking awesome. The other thing that's really cool about this, all right, I actually make a cameo on this DVD. I don't know if it's twice, but I know definitely for sure 1 time I make a cameo on here. And a lot of people have been saying, Lee, what exactly did you ask Brodus Clay? Because some people were telling me how they saw the trailer and it kind of seemed as if Brodus kind of had a little bit of nothing really too fond to say with regards to the question that I asked. My broadcast partner Titus Machiavelli, he saw it. Tabby saw it, and they were like, it's a little hard to say because it's a trailer. We need to actually watch the DVD to see what exactly Brodus said and if he went to a level that was definitely below the belt. But a lot of people pretty much had said the same thing, which was, look, comparing whatever it was you asked Brodus, he was very friendlier to you than the other people that appeared during the trailer. So we're giving him that benefit of the doubt for now until we get ready to watch this. And on that note, that pretty much concludes the unveiling portion of this. Up next, immediately following this, we're going to tackle the DVD review. So stick around. It is now time for our DVD review portion of the RCWR show as we're tackling Kayfabe Commentaries Youshoot that they conducted with Monster, BC, Brodus Clay. I gotta say, overall, this was one of those type of Youshoots where I kind of really couldn't help but feel that this was a really great companion piece to what we had did with Brodus several weeks back when we had the opportunity of interviewing him. Now, for some of you all that remember checking out our interview with Brodus, you'll definitely kind of be able to appreciate and understand why I'm kind of feeling the way that I am with regards to this Youshoot. Everybody else just kick on back and enjoy the journey for now. So things pretty much had began with Brodus Clay talking about how one of his favorite wrestlers growing up, there was many, but he toned it down to Haku. He actually had noted that that is actually his son's grandfather, so a little bit of a connection right there. He talked about how Bill DeMott had trained him. He got his first match against Tommy Suede. He also had talked about bodyguard versus wrestling, like if there's any type of a difference that he had noticed, or what was it that he had picked up from bodyguard work that kind of
helped him going into wrestling and everything. And the big difference is, of course, with bodyguard versus wrestling. As far as Brodus is concerned, when he was doing bodyguard work, he mostly did behind the scenes type of stuff. So you never saw him. If you did see him, it was a bad thing. As opposed to wrestling goes, here he is in a position where he's in a public type of setting and he has to do a lot of public speaking. So kind of getting that rub off, working with the celebrities and all that, it did kind of help him for that public spotlight, as eventually he would go on to command the scene more as a result of being out there in that wrestling type of environment. He also touched upon his relationship with Vince McMahon. He said he looked at him as a teacher, a person that would give direction. He actually had noted that Vince McMahon was the one that had really tried to have him embrace the Funkasaurus character. He actually had danced with him, trying to just make him really get into it. American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, was another person that was trying to do their best to encourage Brodus to really get into the character, because this was a character that was just thrown on the wall, and it was pretty much just like, look, let's just see what happens with this. There wasn't really anything structured on a week-to-week basis. It was just, this is your character, George, go ahead, work this, do whatever you can, just get into it, throw it all out there. Question was asked on what it was like working with Edge, Christian, Alberto Del Rio, basically debuting on main WWE program versus Christian. Brodus had nothing but good things to say about Christian Edge. He actually told a really funny story about one of the early encounters that he had with Edge, as Edge had said to him, I don't know if I like you. You don't talk much. You're just this big guy. And Brodus wasn't really sure how to answer that, because Brodus revealed that he was just one of those type of people in general. He has one of those chill back type of mentalities. He is kind of quiet. He kind of keeps to himself. But he's just one of those same people who, once he really gets a chance to know you and you're just talking on a consistent basis, he loosens up more. But for the most part, he's just keeping to himself. He's acknowledging folks. He's saying hello or whatnot. And he pretty much didn't have the whole leave me alone, I'm in my own little island when he was in the WWE. He would greet people and everything, but there was just that little small group that he would find himself opening up to more. And it would just basically go from there. He also had talked about what it was like working down in Deep South, having horrible matches, one of which was against Scotty 2 Hotty. And, the appearance that I make on this DVD, I actually appeared in the first 20-25 minutes of this DVD. It was like off the break almost. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys as far as what it was that I had asked him. You guys will just have to pick up the DVD to see for yourselves. But I can tell you this, now that I have seen the trailer, and there were those of you that were definitely concerned and you were like, man, the way the trailer made you look, Lee, it looked like Brodus was kind of having a field day with you there. On the contrary, as we all know, that's how some trailers are. Some trailers are made to just look really so freaking enticing that you just want to, well, I gotta buy this, I gotta see what's going on. And it's so funny too, because I had already put my money down for this DVD before I even found out about the trailer. So it was kind of funny when I had found out about it from the few people that had hit me up with regards to this. But when I actually saw the DVD, honestly, I had no problem with what Brodus had said. And I definitely got to give mad props to Sean Oliver for acknowledging me and everything. It's nice to see that we do officially have that camaraderie there, that respect there from Kayfabe Commentaries and Sean Oliver. And Sean, by the way, love you, man. We got to talk. Definitely got to see if you can come on back to the show one of these days. I'd love to pick your brain some more on some good wrestling. But honestly, I had no problem with the way Brodus had addressed my question. I only made one cameo appearance on this DVD. And granted, I will say this, sometimes I go a little bit long-winded when I'm throwing a question out there or whatnot, but that's just me. I promise you this. I will definitely do my best to work on it. I promise you guys. I mean, I only know when somebody tells me. So I always say the only way we know what needs to be improved with the product overall is if we get that constructive feedback from great fans like yourself from time to time. But once again, if you want to know what I said to Brodus, you've got to pick up the DVD. Sorry, I'm not going to spoil it for you. Also, a lot of the questions on this Youshoot were pretty much recycled. A lot of it was things that we had covered in our interview with Brodus, such as what was going on with him making his debut on Raw. Why did it keep getting pushed back? As far as Brodus was concerned, it was just all about the timing. Hell, there was one night where they were going to have his debut be on the same night that the guest hosts were the Muffets. But then they kind of realized that that really wasn't a good idea, so they held off on that. And really, it was just all about timing, and he definitely felt a little bit frustrated, kind of wondering what exactly was going on. But eventually, as we all saw, he did make his debut. Also, it was asked, what did Ernest the Cat Miller think about Brodus jacking his Somebody Call My Mama song? And Brodus has said when he was kicking back and he was trying to figure out what would be the best song to come out to, he was actually working with the great Jim Johnston on that. And they just came across so many songs, and that was one that they had came across. And Brodus was like, you know what? I like this. It's got a nice true funk throwback type of feel to it. Let's go with this one. And he noted that at this point, Ernest, he hadn't been involved with the WWE in so many years, and that when he was in the WWE, it was just for a short period of time. Everybody mainly remembers him from his work in WCW, but he thought it was kind of cool that people still remember to this day that for that short time that he was in the WWE, he was pushing that song. He also had noted that originally Bootsy Collins had stepped up and he wanted to do his intro, and he was truly honored by it as Bootsy had came to him. And unfortunately, Bootsy and WWE, they weren't able to work out anything, and hey, pretty much the rest is history. As originally, when Brodus made his debut and he came out to the Ernest the Cat Miller theme, that was only supposed to be a one-night thing, but just based off the whole fan reactions and all that, they stuck with it, and you all know the rest. Something that I thought was very eye-opening is when Brodus brought up Hornswoggle. He called him a verbal assassin, just a little evil guy. He talked about a story how they were out in Europe and Hornswoggle kept saying to him, I'm the manager, I'm the boss, you're gonna listen to me. They were in some event, turns out they were in Birmingham. Hornswoggle was like, we're in Newcastle, and Brodus is like, wait a minute, no, we're in Birmingham. And Hornswoggle says, no, we're in Newcastle. So Brodus went out there. He's like, okay, whatever, man. And he said, Newcastle. Turns out that was wrong. He got booed, which was really bad. And there's another incident where he ran into Hornswoggle, and Hornswoggle said, funk is on a roll. And basically, Brodus smacked Hornswoggle in the groin area. So you could technically say that there was a little bit of a physical altercation right there, but he did not have pleasant things to say about Hornswoggle. Bill DeMott being a bad trainer was addressed, which was also followed up by some very strong words that came about from Bill DeMott's book, The Last Laugh, as he had called Brodus one of the biggest assholes ever. He fell into a trap of being a stooge and refusing to be part of the team. George was a no-talent phony who never amounted to anything. Well, Brodus cleared the air on this. He said that at one point their relationship definitely went sour after the book. It basically kind of came off of when Bill had left FCW. Brodus was mad that they had let him go because he was a really great coach. He was so accessible, just like in any other sport. He would make his home be available to those stars to come and train or talk, whatever. And when Bill had left, there was definitely frustration on Brodus' part because he felt that he lost somebody really cool. And so this book had came about, and when Bill DeMott had got involved with Tough Enough and all that, the two had ran into one another. Bill had told him about the book. At this point, Brodus still did not read it. Zack Ryder kept trying to hit Brodus to it, ask him if he had read the book and all that. Brodus was like, no. He actually ended up hooking him up with a copy, and he read what was said, and he pretty much had squashed it. He was totally a professional about it. John Cena was brought up, whether or not he was difficult to work with. On the contrary, no. Said that John Cena is very direct, very professional, always look over a lot of the boys' matches, let them know what they did right, how they can improve on the next go-round. Talked about how the locker room is always very positive. There's no tension that's going on. There's really no fights or whatnot. Something that's very consistent throughout this DVD is Brodus' appreciation for Heath Slater. You could tell as many times as he brings up Heath Slater that the two of them had, or maybe they still do have, a very close relationship with one another. They've spent a lot of time traveling, doing sightseeing and all of that, and he said that was one person that he found himself to be getting along with a lot the most during his time in the WWE. Also Santino Marella, Damian Sandow, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a clue. Darren Young was brought up, surprisingly, as the whole issue of him being gay was brought up, whether or not him being gay is what had saved him from losing his job in the WWE, at which Brodus said no, because it was his skills alone that had got him signed to the WWE, and that people being gay has never been an issue in the WWE, as there's people that are openly gay in the company. Brodus would not name any names, but he said Darren Young, by the time he did come out, nothing had changed. If anything, he embraced Darren Young and told him, hey, I don't care what's going on. I'm still your boy. I'm still your friend. Hugged him and everything. He said, if anything, the one thing that he is concerned about with Darren is the dating sites, because he knows there's a lot of risk that can go into that. Just trying to look out for him like a bigger brother, make sure everything is cool. Dolph Ziggler was also brought up, as some people kind of had a little bit of a concern that Dolph Ziggler is constantly being buried, at which Brodus brought up a very good observation. He said, how's this guy getting buried? He's on main WWE programming every single week. He's in like the best position that anybody would want to be in. He's bringing in a decent amount of money. Sure, there's some things that you see that you don't quite like. You just say, well, and when it's all said and done, you're still part of a team. You're still part of something that's unique. You're still part of something that's very special. I think we all can really relate to that. During his time in NXT, yes, he really did take out the teeth of Adrian Neville. Now, it turns out Adrian Neville already had 2 false teeth, but Brodus took credit for the 3rd tooth that had got taken out, as that was a real tooth. So technically, Brodus had only actually took out 1 of his teeth, but if you want to give the man full credit, 3 of his teeth. And Adrian Neville did not know until the guys had went backstage. That's when he found out. But as we all had saw, within the very next week, Adrian Neville had got some implants. So good for him. Talk about a true class act, as he tackled the whole CM Punk walking out situation. He did say maybe it might be a mistake for the fans, because now they're not going to be able to get that access to CM Punk on a weekly basis. But he said he really couldn't comment on the situation, because by the time everything was going on with CM Punk and the walking out, he was actually dealing with his own problems as far as trying to figure out what exactly is his place in the WWE, because it just seemed like creative wasn't really working with him. They weren't trying to help take him to that next level. As you guys know, right after the whole Sweet Tea or Tons of Funk had broke up and everything, it just kind of seemed like Brodus was going in this direction where he was just going to be this monster heelish character, but it just got ice cold real quick. It just kind of came off like the powers that be were creative. They just decided to back away, and when there wasn't that line of communication coming from them to Brodus just kind of kicked back and said, well, you know what, if they aren't coming to me, they aren't showing that they care, then why should I care? And no doubt ultimately that's what had led to his unfortunate release by the WWE. There was the return of one of my favorite segments, What's in the Bag, and Brodus really did not play along with it. It was, you know, you just talk about class act. He really was not trying to bury anybody throughout this whole thing. Those of you that's looking like for some real meat and potatoes, something that you can really just go, wow, you know, I need to sink my teeth into that. There really wasn't anything there. He really was not bashing anybody. There's hardly any bashing at all. If anything, he definitely took a couple of jabs at Yoshi-Tatsu, as John Oliver had pulled out this big, humongous freaking dildo, and basically that was the sign for who's the biggest dick. And Brodus Clay was like, I don't know, Yoshi-Tatsu. Sean pulled out a piece of dog shit or whatever, and he's like, oh, yeah, Yoshi-Tatsu. It's so funny hearing that. There's actually a bottle of Jack Daniels that made Brodus Clay say, oh, yeah, Jack Swagger. So, but he really didn't play it like that. He really didn't get all loose into it like that. I don't know if maybe he was experiencing a little bit of fatigue or whatnot. I know at one point there was like the same freaking questions that was just popping up over and over during this Youshoot, and at the same time, like 1 to 3 people, they just kept popping up with the same questions. I could definitely tell Brodus, because he actually acknowledged it. He was like, this guy's been getting a lot of questions, and I think it was a nice little hint of saying, okay, we're going to this guy too much. Who else is there that's out there? Because when you watch the DVD and you hear Brodus say it at that point, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think that guy's name ever comes up again, because this guy was, my man, this man probably had like about, my gosh, at least 8 questions that was being answered throughout the course of this. But again, the way this all works is when you turn in those questions, you email them, you send the video stuff, all that. That's how it really, really works. And unfortunately, it looks like this go around there really wasn't, I guess, that many people that were turning in questions. I don't know, or maybe it wasn't the type of questions that Sean and crew wanted to cover on this Youshoot. I don't know, man, but I could definitely tell Brodus was just a little bit irritated hearing the same person with different questions. It really needed to be about variety and all that. Honorable mention to people who believed in Brodus Clay, tried to go to bat for him. Road Dogg, Mike Rotunda. Trying to figure out if there was really anything else that was really noteworthy to tell you guys, but that's really it. There really isn't that much else that's in here. He looks at Naomi and Cameron like sisters, which is funny because a couple of people during this shoot, they had asked him, you know, come on now, which one would you? Now, I can't tell you that. That was actually one of my questions that I had asked him that did not make it on the DVD, and I'm glad because they went with some more very vibrant, colorful characters that Brodus had no problem making fun of. But no, he looked at them as sisters. However, as far as top ass goes, Brodus definitely gave it to Naomi, and just the way that he delivered it, kind of keeping in mind that Naomi is married and everything, she's got one of the Usos now, just the way that he delivered it, and just when you look at this whole Youshoot DVD overall, he was really just classy, really professional, really came off like he wasn't trying to bury anybody. He definitely came off like he wasn't trying to bury the WWE. He was just coming off as one of those guys that basically was like, look, I had my time in the sun. I got to work for one of the greatest wrestling promotions that's out there. And hey, it was a great time. Fun. Now I'm moving on. Future's looking bright. He talked about how he would love to maybe do something with Samoa Joe, Abyss, whether or not that means he wants to do something with TNA Wrestling. We'll see in the very near future. But I thought it was really mega cool that he had mentioned those two guys off the break. He also had noted that it was a little frustrating not being able to be part of WrestleMania, as he noted that creative, they were trying to do everything humanly possible to get them out there. But when it was all said and done, that one year, you guys remember, I think it was supposed to be like a tag team match or something going on a couple of years back, and it never happened. He definitely admitted how frustrated he was with that. And don't you know, even though him and the crew, they didn't appear, they still got a WrestleMania payday. I mean, it wasn't that much, but they still had got a payday. Truly were great professionals in his book, because they really didn't have to do that, but they did. Other than that, boys and girls, I would just have to say, like, overall, if you've been following Brodus Clay, you've been checking out all his interviews, including what we did with him, right on up till now as you're checking this out, you probably are saying to yourselves, well, it doesn't really sound like there's that much here that could make me really jump out there and buy this DVD. To that, I would say you're definitely right. You're correct on that, hands down. But this is definitely for that newer audience, for the folks that did not get a chance to check out Brodus, giving out several interviews, talking about all of these things that's covered on this DVD. This is actually a very good grab to get. I would highly recommend that you pick it up if you've never checked any of his other interviews out before. Now, we should note that RF Video, they're probably going to be talking to this man for like about maybe 3-4 hours. And I actually saw the line of questioning that's in there. And I mean, there's maybe one or two things that's kind of like, okay, that looks kind of like, yeah, what's his take on that? But I promise you, somebody's probably going to have a transcript or something be available. It would probably just be a better idea to just wait for that, because it's kind of like a good analogy I would like to use for you guys. It's kind of like you're looking up something on YouTube, like how to make spaghetti and meatballs, for example, and you type that in the YouTube search result, and it comes back, and you see one video is like 25 minutes long, another one is like 5 minutes long, another one is 3 minutes long. It really comes down to the execution, the presentation, and who does a really good job mastering those two while valuing you, the consumer's time, as you're checking this out. So when I look at everything that was asked on this Youshoot DVD and I compare it to what RF Video is going to be doing with him, I definitely would have to give the edge more to kayfabe commentaries. Now, for those of you that want to get away from some of the silly bullshit questions that's being asked of him during this Youshoot DVD, I would say this: get this Youshoot DVD, but if you want a little bit more that you can sink your teeth into, there's definitely some great podcast shows that's out there. Definitely start with us, because we did interview him first. We talked to him for like a whole hour. You could probably come away with what we did with him as a really great companion piece to what Kayfabe Commentaries did with him here for this Youshoot edition. Other than that, I definitely would say don't check out the RF Video, because it's basically the same questions, really drawn out. I mean, do you really want to sit through almost 4 hours of the same questions? I mean, that's just me. Wishful thinking right there. I might be wrong, to each its own. I will say this: for those of you that did check out the Brodus Clay shoot interview with RF Video, definitely post your comments below. Let me and everybody else know if this is a DVD that should be checked out. If you feel I need to scoop this up and review it because it's that on point, definitely sign off, let me know. And hey man, if you got a really cool shoot DVD you'd like for me to check out, I'd love to hear about it. Post your comments down below. You can also find us out on Twitter at the RCWR Show, Facebook at Infinity One Productions. You can even shoot us an email, infinityoneproductions@gmail.com. All those links that you need are in this episode description. But overall, I would have to say that Kayfabe Commentaries Youshoot with Monster BC gets a pass. I definitely would recommend that you guys check this out when you get an opportunity to. Hey, not only do you get to see Brodus Clay and all that, hey, you get to see Lee Sanders, moi, make a nice little cameo on there. But minus the cameo and all that, I mean, scale of 1 to 10, I'd have to give this a 8 out of 10. I just wish it would have ran a little bit more and we could have gotten to some more good stuff. But you know, the timing of it was perfect. I love the fact that it ran just almost 2 hours, because honestly, I think anything more would have been a little bit overkill. So it's actually kind of good that it ended the way that it did, which you all will really like. It's kind of fun how it ends, but just the duration of it is definitely on point. One more time. Kayfabe commentaries, Youshoot with Monster BC gets a pass.